Kenny Golladay and Danny Amendola both suffering from hamstring injuries. Let's talk Lions. What does that mean for us week one? I can't say I'm not surprised. I think this was something that injuries are going to happen. The offseason has been so short. It's been so limited that injuries are I think they're bound to happen. And I just was really praying it wouldn't happen to us. So it comes out on Tuesday. Kenny Golladay is suffering some sort of hamstring injury. I'm not sure if it's strained or pulled or whatnot, but it's enough that he couldn't practice Wednesday or Thursday. Here we are, it's Friday. So we have to ask ourselves two questions here. Number one, will he play Sunday versus the Bears? And number two, do we even really want him to play? Part of me obviously hopes, wishes, is praying that Kenny Golladay will be able to play against Chicago. Because he's our deep threat. He's one of the top best receivers in the NFL. And not having him will be detrimental. You look at what Kenny Golladay, the numbers he was able to put up last year against Chicago both times. 2019 season, Kenny Golladay, the first time we faced off against Chicago was on the 10th of November, and Matt Stafford was injured. It was right after the Oakland Raiders game. So Stafford's not in. We had Jeff Driscoll at the helm. Golladay was targeted 9 times with 3 receptions and 1 TD. His average yard per reception was 19 yards. The second time we faced off against the Chicago Bears was in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, one of the hardest games to watch all year. It was an atrocity. We just looked awful. David Blau was at the helm. Kenny Golladay, this time only 5 targets. 5 targets with 4 receptions. 1 TD, but he averaged 39 yards, roughly, per reception. So not having Golladay is a huge loss for us at our receiving core. Now, you take a step back and you're like, all right, we pop out Golladay. We've got Marvin Jones Jr. Excellent. We've got Danny Amendola. We have got Marvin Hall. We've got Jamal Agnew. We've got these other guys, plus our tight ends with TJ Hockenson and Jesse James. But then Danny Amendola also is suffering from a hamstring injury. And I'm like, this can't be. You look at Danny Amendola's stats against Chicago last year. In the first game, Danny Amendola also had 9 targets with 4 receptions, but 0 TDs. And he averaged out at about 7 yards per reception. The second time on Thanksgiving Day playing against Chicago, he had 8 targets, 3 receptions, 0 TDs. And he averaged out at about 11 yards per reception. So where does that put us at? If Galladay's gone and if Amendola's gone, that's our deep threat and our slot. Where does that put us? Well, our receiving core against the Bears would have to be Marvin Jones Jr., Marvin Hall, Jamal Agnew, and rookie Quintus Cephas. And then we've obviously got our tight ends, Hockenson and Jesse James. All in all, it's not the greatest setup. We are losing the deep threat with Golladay. We are losing the slot. Thank God for Marvin Jones Jr. I think he's a stud. He's a baller. But then you go down that list and you look at Marvin Hall. Marvin Hall only played weeks 3 through 12 last year. He had about 1 catch per game in that. So like some games he had 2 catches, some games he had 0 through weeks 3 through 12. Now, with that 1 reception per game, he averaged out at 37 yards per reception overall throughout the course of the season. However, it's not a lot to go on. 1 reception a game is not enough to go on. And then you look at Jamal Agnew. He played a total of 5 games. So the stats are not in his favor. We don't have enough to really go on. Plus, I've seen him drop a ball or 2. With Amendola out, you also have to remember Amendola was our punt returner for most of last year. And then finally, rookie Quintus Cephas hey, brand new to the NFL, it could be a wild ride Sunday. This is where we got to take a step back and say, okay, obviously we want them to play. They're freaking tight. But if both of their hamstrings are in an iffy situation, do we really want to take a chance week 1, put them in there, and they're competitors, they're going to give it their all? What if they get injured and we're out next week against Green Bay, then Arizona, then New Orleans? You know what I'm saying? So, like, if they're out for 3 weeks, that's going to put us in a bind early. So, all that being said, we're in a pinch here in the last hour going into week 1. So that's a little update for you, for anybody who has missed it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you think specifically about our receiving core if we don't have Golladay and Amendola in there. Let me know. Subscribe for all your Detroit Lions news. And I look forward to Sunday. Go Lions. Wrap that up.